Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about classics I've read and why you should or shouldn't read them. I have 7 books here, and as I've read very many classics and I'll continue to be reading classics, this is kind of going to become a bit of a series on my channel where I just pick a couple classics and then just talk to you guys about them, why I would recommend them, why I wouldn't recommend them, some similar books that I think you guys might like if you've liked these classics. I want it to be a little bit more talkative than just straight recommendations. This is going to be my 1000 subscriber special. So I hit 1000 subscribers this week and I can't find the words to express how grateful I am. I'm someone who's been doing YouTube since I was like 9 years old. I would do a little channel, post some videos, and then people like from my school would find it, and then I'd get really anxious and I wouldn't like it and I wouldn't be comfortable on it, so I'd do another account. And this happened like maybe 5 times until I finally reached this account where I'm sure people do know I just feel like I don't care and I'm just confident with my content, and I'm really happy to be doing this. 1000 subscribers was honestly always the goal. It looks so pretty on my channel. I know I might seem a bit relaxed now, but I was so excited, and I am so grateful and happy that so many people have watched my content and liked it, and I'm so excited to be doing some more creative videos. I'm finally starting to plan my first video essay. I'm hoping to do a writing vlog soon, although those videos might take just a tad bit more time because I am starting A-levels in about a month and a half. Of course, this summer is going to be a very long and busy summer, and I'm excited to do loads of different vlogs and new videos I can spend a lot more of my time and thought and effort with. Let's get into it. I decided to do this video for my 1000 subscriber special because it kind of combines my most popular videos, which are classic videos, recommendation videos, and ranking videos. So there are definitely going to be some classics here that I didn't really like, and a lot of these I've probably spoken about on my channel before, but there are going to be some new ones. I really hope you guys enjoy. As I mentioned in my last video, next week I'm also going to do a video on all of the East Asian and Japanese literature that I've read. The first classic that I'm going to talk about, which I have not spoken about on my channel before, is The Crucible by Arthur Miller. This is actually a play. The Crucible is about the Salem witch trials, and it talks about real people who were part of the Salem witch trials, like Abigail, Danforth, Mary Warren, Giles, Proctor, John Proctor. So Miller is essentially writing the story how he believes it would have played out, I guess. And I really enjoyed it. It was an allegory for the Red Scare of the 1940s. In America, anyone who was suspected of having communist affiliations was immediately taken. Arthur Miller himself was imprisoned on suspicion of having communist affiliations, and I think it works very well as an allegory, even for a lot of modern day fear-mongering. I was really fascinated by the way that he was talking about blame, and how the only way to survive at that time was to shift blame onto other people. Of course, I'm sure everyone knows about how, for example, drowning was used to figure out if someone's a witch. If you try to drown a woman and she didn't drown, then it means she is a witch, so you kill her. And if she actually drowns, then oh, she wasn't a witch, but she's dead. I actually studied this in GCSE drama when I was properly getting into researching theism, and I was interested in the blame because, of course, I was looking at that aspect. Christianity, for example, I loved the symbolism of the ending and some of the quotes. I'm not going to talk about them, of course. I love books with these kinds of endings, even if it doesn't make me feel amazing. This copy has a lot. There's like a chronology of the playwright's life and work. He was one of the men who married Marilyn Monroe, actually. Commentary on themes, characters, language, style. This is the Bloomsbury edition. Yeah. The next book I'm going to talk about is, of course, Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is my all-time favorite classic, and I needed to talk about it in my first classics ranking video. This isn't a rank, by the way, actually. I think my next video I might rank it or put it in a ranking order just so I could have a new video title. But Anna Karenina, if you don't know, follows mainly 2 storylines of 2 couples, Levin and Kitty, and then Anna Karenina and Vronsky. Vronsky is a bit of a younger man that Anna runs off with. She abandons her husband and child. I actually think if you enjoyed The Crucible, you might enjoy Anna Karenina. There are different themes and different worlds and different intentions, I think, but they deal with some similar presentations of society and gossip and the norm, etc., etc. I'm gonna read a few of these quotes out for you guys since this is a bit more of a casual video, but it's beautiful. I wrote about it in my personal statement. Actually, let me pull that up. If you haven't read Anna Karenina, then you won't know, but the first line is actually from the Bible: "Vengeance is mine, I shall repay." Interesting to analyze once I was done with the whole book. There are so many other things like that. The symbolism is insane here. I haven't researched it nearly as much as I could. So my personal statement, I wrote, "My transition to sophisticated literature was crowned by Tolstoy's Anna Karenina, which I savored for its tender, immersive writing. Rich in perspective, it reflected society as an organism where every being contributes to the laws of civilization. I was intrigued by Tolstoy's understanding of justice and how he wove the dynamics between love, death, life, and class into the identities of different characters. Exploring Tolstoy along with Kafka's life," and then a little bit more of a book that I'm actually going to talk about. "In my opinion, Tolstoy's understanding of justice, based on that first line, 'Vengeance is mine and I shall repay,' is through a religious perspective, and I found that very interesting as well. There are so many perspectives, like I said, which were so beautiful. For example, we are hearing the perspective of Anna's child and how he was told that she was dead after she left, and he says, Ivanovna explained to him that she was dead because she was bad, which he could not at all believe, for he loved her. There's so much to go into. He's being told she's dead because she ran away from them and abandoned them, and I guess abandoned her responsibility, which she did. It's very symbolic for how she is metaphorically dead in this society. Also that she is dead because she is bad. It could also be that the maid is also being metaphorical. She didn't mean she's literally dead, but she's just not going to be there anymore because she's a bad person. What I found most interesting though was the fact that he couldn't believe that she was bad because he loved her, which is such an interesting topic. I've written some poetry about that and how difficult it is. I mean, everyone knows this, but it's so difficult to see faults in people that you love and things that you love and how early that starts. There are so many more in here. I'm of course going to do an entire video essay on Anna Karenina, but it is just beautiful. Knowing only your wife whom you love, as somebody once said, you can understand all women better than if you knew thousands. There were a lot of random conversations, which I guess some people might have found boring, but I actually just found it very intuitive. I decided to read Anna Karenina as, I believe, the second classic I ever read because I had read about it in A Series of Unfortunate Events, and a quote I memorized very early from A Series of Unfortunate Events is when Lemony Snicket says that the moral of Anna Karenina is that a rural life of moral simplicity is a preferable personal narrative to a daring life of impulsive passion which leads only to tragedy. The next book I have here is Agua, Viva by Clarice Lispector. If you are watching me in 2024, then you'll know this was one of the lowest classics ranked in my 2024 classics ranking video. So Agua Viva is about, I don't know, Clarice Lispector's random musings and thoughts and ideas. Very flowery ideas. I had a lot of high hopes for this because everyone talks about how beautiful her writing is, and I would be stupid to deny that her writing is gorgeous. And I'm sure it would have been even better in the original Portuguese, I believe. However, this book was absolutely horrible. The amount of effort it took to get through this was insane. It's less than 100 pages and it is so useless. Like I said, it's her random musings and they don't say anything. She's just saying a lot of flowery words and a lot of flowery metaphors that mean absolutely nothing. It doesn't even feel like one long abstract poem because there's no link to anything. It's just a bunch of purple prose that is not connected at all, and I kind of just side-eye people now that say that they love Clarice Lispector because are you actually thinking about what she's saying? Because she isn't saying anything. The golden everlasting is always dead. Its dryness aspires to its eternity. It's just that I don't know how to use love. In the lightest realm of speaking, I almost don't know how to speak. I want to be buried with the watch on my wrist so that in the earth something can pulse time. You can see how the writing is gorgeous, but these are the quotes that actually make sense. But these are completely unconnected and most of it is indecipherable. I stopped to drink cool water. The glass at this instant now is of thick, faceted crystal, and with thousands of glints of instants are objects halted in time. The moon is still full. A little bit later, I don't think just as the diamond doesn't think. I shine wholly limpid. I have neither hunger nor thirst. I am. And it's just a lot of this random stuff. Never is the impossible. I like never. I also like ever. I am not joking, I am earnest, because I am free. I am so simple. And when I am born, I become free. That is the foundation of my tragedy. Wait, it's getting dark. Darker. You who are reading me, please help me to be born. Like what? If she wrote some coherent poetry, I think I would love that, but no. Honestly, I think if you want to read something that is just very beautiful in prose, then either read poetry or maybe White Nights, which I thought had really pretty writing and metaphors, but still had a story and a sense to it. The next classic that I am going to talk about is Quick Curtain by Melville. This is a detective novel about a death and a murder that happens on stage. I picked this up at Waterstones. There's like a collection of these old crime classics. I thought the cover was gorgeous, I still do, but this was such a disappointment. It turns out that it was meant to be like a comedic mockery, I guess, of detective novels. I found the plot twist to be very boring, and I felt like there were many other plot twists that could have been done that would make it better. The writing was also very, very dry, worse than Agatha Christie. And if you know me, you know I don't like Agatha Christie's writing. Very dry, some downright really bad writing. I think there were some grammatical errors as well. I was very confused and upset. Next, we have Beast in the Shadows by Edgar Rampo. This was my favorite classic of 2025. It is about a detective, an actual good detective novel. Well, it's not about a detective, actually. It's about a crime novelist who turns detective to help protect the woman that he loves, who says she's being stalked by her ex-lover. But as time goes on, he doesn't know whether he is hunter or hunted. I'm going to continue recommending this. The plot twists are definitely insane. And when I say insane, I'm not saying that I couldn't see them coming, but just that they kept going. And eventually you begin to realize it's not really about the plot twists and what is actually happening. And it's more about the psychological upheave that happens to all of these characters and even yourself. You end up not knowing who the Beast in the Shadows is, if it's the reader or the characters. Incredible book, and I'm really excited to read more of Edgar Rampo. I think there was a book called The Human Chair that someone on TikTok I think recommended to me, which is meant to be a bit disgusting. But next we have The Trial by Franz Kafka. That's the second book that I spoke about in my personal statement, and I basically said how I appreciated the way he used a surrealist style to express very real ideas about the despondency of law and persecution. The Trial is about a man who wakes up and finds that he's being arrested, and he doesn't know why he's being arrested. Throughout the book, he's just trying to figure out why he's being arrested while defending himself, and he doesn't know why he's defending himself. He's going to different lawyers who are each telling him different things, and I thought this was incredible. The ending was very impactful, and again, it's very metaphorical. I have some favorite quotes in here. For a man under suspicion, movement is better than rest. For the man who is at rest can always, without knowing it, be on the scales of being weighed together with his sins. Justice has to be motionless or the scales will waver, and there's no possibility of a correct judgment. I kept thinking about this book when I was studying moral philosophy and Kantian ethics specifically. There are some really pretty descriptions as well. On page 27, I'm not going to read it all because it's a very fat paragraph, but he's walking to town to one of his hearings, and I thought the description was really lovely. I honestly think I enjoyed this more than the Metamorphosis. Of course, I only understood that after reading it. And the last book that I'm going to talk about in this video is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This was my least favorite classic of 2025, I think. Yeah, it is about a woman, Esther, who is going to New York because she has an internship at a New York fashion magazine, but she's feeling very depressed and not at all how she expected herself to feel. Disappointed is not the word. I was ashamed reading this. It was very simplistic for a start. I expected some really beautiful prose since she is a poet, and of course I knew about the fig tree quote, which I actually did enjoy, and there's like 3 other quotes here that I actually liked. The racism, the prejudice, the absolute dislikable nature of every single character without fail in this book. There's some point where she kicks a black nurse for giving her 2 kinds of beans at once. She looks at herself and thinks she looks ugly because she looks like a yellow Chinese. I thought the way it ended was nice, but if you want a book about New York and exploring yourself and a city at the same time, then please read The Catcher in the Rye. If you want to know some more details about my thoughts on The Bell Jar, then watch my 2025 classics ranking video, because this video is getting a little bit long, so I can't go on about this for a long time even though I want to. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna continue doing these, and of course next week also for 1,000 subscribers I'm gonna talk about Japanese and East Asian literature. Thank you guys again. I am so excited and happy for this. Actually, as I was filming this, I remembered on one of my earlier YouTube channels when I hit 25 subscribers, and I spent like a minute at the beginning of the video talking about how grateful I was, and I'm still so grateful for every single subscriber, but I'm also so happy with how far I've gotten. Thank you guys again, and if you have anything you want to see, specific videos or recommendations, etc., then please let me know, and also recommend me some books, you guys. I'm gonna go on a shopping spree very soon.